Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Sitback with Shaq and Anu. We are coming to you live from our studios all the way to your homes on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and, of course, our YouTube platform, PodHub. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show. Also, a big thank you to once again to our sponsors, Daraz, for being on the show. And we do have another Daraz deal of the day. We'll explain how this goes in just a little while.
Right, of course, a big match happening right now. Sri Lanka taking on Bangladesh. Do or die. More like die now.
Got thrashed.
We got thrashed at the moment. Well, okay, our bowlers got thrashed at the moment. So I think so. The score ends at 183 for the loss of 7 wickets. Okay, Sri Lanka have just started to bat. We will periodically update the scores for you on the screen and see how well. Now, Sri Lanka has to win this match in order to go into the top 4. Okay, but we're talking about another sport that is possibly more passionate in Sri Lanka than cricket is.
Absolutely. And the thing is, rugby is older than cricket in Sri Lanka. And in fact, in the world, we're probably the second oldest nation to be playing rugby.
Is that right? Wow.
148 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's incredible, right? Lots of people don't realize how passionate people are about rugby, especially the ones who have played. And most of the people have played. They are the fans.
Yes,
because in order to understand rugby, you kind of need to have played it.
Yeah, but 50% of them haven't played, but they still understand. They want to understand. Come on, come on. You know the whole referee horror situation, all those things. We're going to talk about all that on the show.
Who don't understand know it better.
There you go. So I mean, we have to introduce our guest on the show.
Yes, of course.
Rizly Ilyas is on the show with us. He is the president of Sri Lanka Rugby. He's, of course, passionately known as Dida to everyone who obviously knows him very well. So you don't mind us calling you Dida, no?
No. Thank you, Shaq. Thank you, Anu, for having me on the show. The floor is yours.
It's going to be a fun show. We're going to basically tackle lots of stories, lots of news that's obviously floating around, lots of hearsay, rumors. Platform is here to basically put it right.
Clear the air and certainly, have your say also. Because a lot of it is rumors and a lot of speculation, a lot of bad blood also in there sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like how you use the word tackle. Tackle these problems.
We are going to.
Very smooth.
It's going to be a fun show. All right, time for us to obviously get into the deal of the day with our wonderful sponsors, Daraz, on the show with us. Let's get into the deal of the day. Let's find out what it is for today.
Here we are back again, and today's deal is very interesting. We actually got a little sneak peek in the evening. So if you can find this, whoever wins this today is going to be very happy with what they win.
A happy camper.
Yeah.
And we are getting lots of people obviously sending in screenshots. And remember, only the first person who sends in a screenshot can actually walk off with the deal of the day, courtesy of Daraz.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
News to me.
Yeah. We get it all coming in and we don't tell them who the first one is.
Right. Okay, today's deal of the day. Here we are. The Daraz deal of the day is a M4, M5 smartwatch band fitness tracker. I know how this works because I bought my son one of these.
Okay.
He loves it. He absolutely loves it. And trust me, whoever gets this is going to be, like Shaq said, a very happy camper. So basically, you need to locate this on the Daraz app and send us a screenshot of that via WhatsApp to this number 075 011 7777. And like we explained, the first person to get it right, because a lot of people get the wrong product and send us screenshots. We can't explain it, so you need to really scour through the Daraz app and find this particular item, M4, M5 smartwatch band fitness tracker, and send us a screenshot via WhatsApp to this number 075 011 7777. The first one to get it right walks away with the Daraz deal of the day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we actually jump right into the conversation of what is happening in Sri Lanka as far as rugby is concerned, we always have a poll on the show.
That's right, and of course, it's no different today. It's retrofitted to talk, especially to the subject that we are going to talk about. So without further ado, Here it comes.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraz.
And we are back. So today's poll is something, a lot of people have been concerned about, especially after having seen foreign players play in, the club rugby scene in Sri Lanka many years ago. So it's very, very pertinent. And this is it. Are foreign players a must to improve local rugby? Yes or no answers only. Please WhatsApp your answer to our hotline 077 669 1590. And at the end of the show, we'll let you know exactly how the yeas or the nays stand.
Right, of course, and also we'll ask Dida later on the show what he thinks about this particular question and the poll before we reveal the answers. Let's basically talk about Sri Lanka rugby right now. Now, in Sri Lanka, rugby is one of the most closely followed sports, one of the most passionate sports, especially school rugby. It is followed like to the brim. Why is it that we can't see the same crowd support and the backing when it comes to club rugby?
It was there a long time back. I mean, when we were children, when you go to Havelock's game or you go to CH game, you go to even Army Navy Air Force, there was a fan follow-up, right? All of a sudden, this professional came into rugby, and the professional players started crossing.
Right.
So then the fans did start following up, but then ultimately it lowered down. And then again, with the times changing, demand of work happening, and lot of jobs being lost and time consuming, where people had to go to work. Before it was a more laid-back lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah. So when things got a bit difficult, people didn't have the time, and they took to TV rugby. But even still now, schools rugby is very popular because the children, the past pupils, they are fully engrossed into the school.
Yeah.
You don't find real top-class children moving from either Royal to Isipatana or Isipatana to Royal. I mean, you get the children moving from outstation school, coming in and getting a place. But the fan club is still there because the name for the school is there.
The fan club is also stronger because the parents are also involved.
Yeah, so it's a family thing. You see the sisters coming, the brothers. Yeah. You see totally a different culture. But having said that, we spoke about your question there. We can get the fans back into Sri Lanka rugby. There should be different areas how we excite the game with different entertainment. Sort of night rugby is the best that we can see. Yeah. Even in Europe or New Zealand, when we watch rugby, the night rugby is what is putting the crowd out. So it will take the time. We have gone through so many recessions, so many problems in the country. In time to come, I think we should have the fan thing coming up very soon.
Some are fans have a handbag, but not gano.
Yeah.
Come on there. We'll let that go.
Those are part of the entertainment.
That's the entertainment. So Dida, now let's talk about this. You said the professional structure, right? I mean, do we have professional rugby players in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I mean, every club is based on a professional structure. They are paid a contract fee of a year, cannot move out of their club for 3 years. They sign a contract, then they are paid a monthly average wage. So depending on the standard of the player, if the club grades them as A, B, C, I mean, there are different contracts for different players. I mean, we have come across so many issues of players trying to cross over when they are having contracts. Right. Sometimes we mitigate and talk and we release the players. Some other clubs don't do that. So because we don't hold a central contractual tri-party agreement with us.
Right.
Because we still at the union, we though we say it's professional, we are not still holding the national players as professionals as we should be.
That's the question. Yeah.
So it's again coming back into the financials of running it to look at how it would be structured. So it takes some time, and I mean, when we are always talking about doing these things, our country goes through some sort of turmoil, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, we are still unable to get that thing going on a professionalism at the national level.
Because, sorry, Anu, because I mean, do you not think that once we actually get into that professional level and 100% focus, they got nothing but to think about rugby. You've got the world ranking. Clearly, Sri Lankan world ranking can sort of start moving up.
It's like that. It's not like rugby is not magic, you know. It's like a physical game. I mean, even if you move professional, you need to take the 7s and the 15 squad completely out.
Right.
Together.
Yeah.
I mean, in Asia now, Japan, I think even in Hong Kong a little bit, most of the countries are following to take. I mean, the guys who play 7s should not play 15s.
Yeah.
What the experience I have gained the last 3-4 years. If we are to maintain ourselves at the top in Asia, winning medals, going for Olympics and going for World Series.
Yeah.
So this is short-term, long-term basis. So how do we, even talking to clubs, we need to give them a period of 1 year for them to be prepared to let go of the 7th players.
Right.
So if you go to a club now and say, I want to take us, I mean, the clubs are not fitted with enough of abundance of players who can just play 15s and just play 7s.
Right.
They have the 7th players who play brilliantly in both.
Okay.
So this leads a lot of exhaustion when they come, and we saw this in the, I mean, Commonwealth was a different setup for us because we never had rugby, and our guys, though we didn't have 7's HP as per high performance, the 15er side helped us to keep them fit and going.
Right.
But the game totally is different,
Very
but the players who went were able to change it. I mean, I couldn't see them winning a medal there, but of course, if we had proper high performance, we could have been within the first 12 or 10 sides. You know, there's beatable sides there, you know, so we could be realistic that what should have happened. I was there really watching the games, but our bodies were not there because we had not enough 7 games, where the other sides have played 30 to 40 games for that year. We would have played only about 11 or 12 games.
Right.
So I was just talking to other coaches of other countries, and they said our skill level is very high. Our boys have that, but when you don't have enough games, nothing
Exposure.
comes in exposure. Yeah.
So will the SLRFU now focus on actually creating these 2 divisions, like 15 aside and of course 7 aside separately, and actually how much teeth, you know, how much power does SLRFU wield when it comes to kind of convincing the clubs that this is what needs to be done for the national interest?
Well, SLRA is the mother union. It doesn't need any teeth. I mean, that's what sometimes you need to play hard to put your foot down and take rugby to another level.
Right.
You cannot be playing to the whims and flimsies of clubs, but of course we need to listen to them. That's why I said you need to give them a year's period time, you know, grace.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just come now and say, you know, we need to take all the 7th players off, sign contract, which we can do, it won't be fair enough. Some sides might lose 5 players, some sides might lose 2 players, so it won't be fair. But we are trying to work on a mechanism where before the season starts, that we will play about 5 domestic 7s tournament. And also today we had an expo meeting, we open it out for the mercantile sector to release their best, I mean, players who are attached to a club, but they have enough of clubs to put another side. They were looking at Central Province putting another side, Plantation to have another side. So you need to increase the base level to see what is the potential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are just concentrating on these 8 clubs all the time.
That's right.
And some clubs say we want to take part, some say that we don't want to take part. So we are always in the middle, looking at, no, what shall we do? Shall we have this week or next week? So openly, I think we should have this 5 tournaments structured before the season starts, because we are also in line to play with the Asian 7s in October. Of course, you know, there is a suspension that is hanging on us.
Yes.
So we have written to Asia Rugby to release us from that, so that our players get opportunity to go and play there. You know, initially the suspension came with a good mindset of Asia Rugby, saying that we immediately put a suspension to you, not allowing politics to get into your country, people to take over. So now that step is over. The court has given us a interim relief, and we are functioning as a body, and we went on to our AGM, and so we are an elected body. That's what they look at it. Internationally, you are an elected body as per UN, as per Olympic Charter, and I think we should move forward in this. So it's a little bit of letter writing to do. But having said that, if we fail, we can still go and play other 7s tournaments other than what is happening in Asia Cup. I mean, the Asia is happening next year in September. so we can get accustomed to. But it will be a sad story for Sri Lanka. We really like to take part in the 7th and the 15th of the Asia Rugby. Yeah. But I don't know. We need to talk it out and move forward in a very sensible manner.
Okay, so let's basically talk about, you spoke about the suspension. We need to basically get to the bottom of the suspension is to figure out what really happened, because the last several months Sri Lanka Rugby has been going through a very turbulent period. First, the then sports minister suspended Sri Lanka Rugby back in April, and then of course Asia Rugby confirmed the temporary membership suspension for Sri Lanka. Now let's talk about the reason. Firstly, why was Sri Lanka Rugby suspended by the then sports minister?
See, if you go back, I had to go back on the story of 2020 when there was the AGM where I came in as president. At that time, the standing president was also looking at coming in as another candidate.
Right.
Right. But then, of course, when Western Province they have the most amount of vote because they have the clubs. So when he knew that was happening, there was a technical means a part of the constitution that every club has to pay just 1,000 rupees subscription fee.
Okay.
So I have been a part of the union for so long, we had never sent notices to any of the provincial union. But having found that technical point, he made a complaint that Western Province cannot take part in this election because they have not paid the 1,000 rupees. Right. So now you're looking at a person who was voted in as president from the provincial union, Western Province itself. So they go in to damage the provincial council vote. It's just because they don't want another person to come in as president when they are not supported.
Okay.
So this is the sad part of the story. However much a person plays rugby, how much you take part and you be a president or governor, ultimately what value do you leave and go? So that really hampered that Western Province of voting. But nevertheless, without Western Province voting, still I came into power. Then of course there was a direction given by the ministry secretary that once you sort this matter out, you take it as per SLR constitution, you bring them on board. Right. So SLR constitution, as per article, the section it says, you have a council meeting, let them pay. Let the council is the ultimate body in SLR who makes a decision and say, okay, now it's right. Okay. You accept it. Okay. So we had two cases of Western Province and Uva Province had not completed their game, so they were not given to vote. Their voting was not given. But of course we came in, that was in August or October. 1 month no sooner, we took our first meeting. Everything was put on board. It was minuted, and the letter at that time, it was Jude Dimitri, my secretary. He wrote to the secretary at that time of the ministry and said, everything is online, sir. These people are now on board, and we sent the letter. We went on our general council meetings and activities. In January this year, we sent our AGM notice. In December we sent our AGM notice saying that in May 31st we are going to have our AGM. In January, we had a letter from the Director General saying that there is a petition regarding the acceptance of Western Province because there was a circular issued by the then Secretary, and we think the Western Province is not eligible to be there. You all have not acted accordingly. Okay. Okay, right. Then there was a debate whether we should go through this or not. Then we had a council meeting. It was advised by the council we should respect what the DG says. We said, okay, we are not going to have it, but we gave him all the letters what we have given. We have got an acknowledgement letter signed by the secretary. Then that he has received our letter with the minutes. For what we see is for 2 years the letter has been in his drawer and nobody has looked at the letter. Right. And then a petition comes from somewhere, so we still respect. I mean, that's the sports ministry, we respect. Right. So we were eventually waiting for this. It never came. And ultimately, the only thing that came was, I mean, we went through the league tournament. We were going, while all this saga was going on, we had given a commitment that we are not going to have the AGM. Then came the gazette notification nullifying Western Province. So that gazette notification says to run the affairs of SLR and to conduct the AGM. But the letter was given for us in January that there was a petition against SLR that the Western Province is not eligible to be seated there. So there are two different things of what they spoke to us and what they said.
Yeah.
So I mean, we asked for the opinion of the AG, which never came to us. And then it was disturbing all of us a lot why this should happen to us. Then we consulted our lawyers and we look at the sports law and look at the constitution, which clearly states before any suspension or any order be given, a fair chance of a hearing and inquiry should be given. So which was not given at all.
Okay.
And I mean, if you have an inquiry, you need to be brought in. A petition should be showed. What is wrong? Nothing. So nothing.
There's a due process.
Yeah, there's a due process. Yeah. So we thought, okay, let's go, because now the dignity of rugby was coming down. Yeah. It's nothing to do with personal thing. Yeah. I mean, there was a saga of sponsorship, no sponsorship. We went through without sponsorship. We went and we got life back into rugby. You know, I mean, you look at people sometimes saying from outside, there's no rugby has gone down, but during the COVID time, I mean, this level for dangerous sports, we need to go to the ministry to get approval, we need to go to the health ministry to get approval, and nobody was willing to take the chance of giving us the approval. I mean, we're talking about 146 years at that time. For 144 years or 5 years, we never went to the ministry or health ministry to get permission. We had our tournament, we played.
Right.
We had our money, we played. So this COVID thing gave us an imbalance of the ministry calling shots at us.
Okay.
And then, pulling us and saying, no, you play, you don't play, this side. So there was a real tug-of-war situation for us. But even with that, it doesn't matter. There was no time proper rugby could have been played. Yeah. Not even with Sri Lanka, all over Asia. Yeah. We were the first. I mean, then we did a strategic plan of 2 to 4 years, short and long term. Then our strategic plan, our short term was to getting back into rugby, right? And getting back into rugby is getting vaccinated. Yeah. And so we passed that period. For us to start in this January, we passed that period. And we got into rugby. So where I'm coming again to the gazette notification we got, but we did rugby. People were saying we did not play rugby. The rugby standard has come down. So to play rugby, the standard to come down, we should be allowed to play. Right. The country situation should be good. Right. I mean, if I can see all of the Asia was playing, I mean, even Japan could not play. They were playing World Series game. They were training in a bubble, in enclosed areas. Yeah.
Even
through virtual New Zealand. I mean, every guy was, the trainer was, giving through virtual training programs, and the entire dynamics of training changed. Because I was in touch with Ben Goling in December. He said, no more Rizly. As far as you get your house together, I'll come for 1 month and I will take it on, So we learned a lot from him how the new trend was working. And then we went to the case and it was overturned and we come back again. That's it.
So where is the suspension with Asia rugby stand at the moment?
Okay, should it be removed now? Because now you have the elected body.
Now you're an elected body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are asking me. We have a former president who was 5 years in Sri Lanka. He's seated at the Asian Rugby in an apex body, and he's in the exco there as chairman of this thing. So there is no signal from him to accept Sri Lanka, because this is not something damaging that we have done. We have not violated any regulation.
Correct.
Right.
Nothing has been violated. It is simply because the ministry found something wrong. They put a gazette notification. They stopped it. We went to courts and we got an interim order. Yeah. Interim order allows us to have our AGM and function as a full body, elected body.
Yeah. Right.
So now Asia Rugby says, that is not enough for us. We want you to come out of this entire interim order, and the entire thing should be closed, and you should be given good power. But in Sri Lanka how the cases go.
Yes, of course.
I mean, it can go for a month, a year. It can go for 2 years. So that means how does a regional body look at a member union? I mean, is it a punishment just because they don't like somebody, or is it a punishment because they have got together with some people and want to put Sri Lanka rugby down? So there are a lot of questions being asked.
Okay, we actually had a question.
Yeah, that was actually Chris George that was asking this question. Hi Rizly, firstly congrats on your renewed term as president. My question is, Sri Lanka can compete at a top level in the 7th circuit and be in that top 3, but don't have enough exposure or at times lack specialist forwards. Your vision is great if we can develop a separate 7 squad with more local tournaments and participate in more tournaments overseas. Can we find sponsors to sustain these programs that can elevate us to another level and be consistent in our performance, including rankings? Like I said, it's Chris George former Sri Lanka player and captain of SIA.
He is absolutely correct. You see, you look at the last 7-8 years. Where have we come in the sevens? Still no medal.
Yeah.
We still talk about 3 years back we lost to Japan 2 points. We got a medal, but still no medal. Whatever, whoever who have been president, who have been captain, who have been players, still the structure has not been formed to take the sevens player out of the squad and train as professional.
Correct.
But I think money can be found. I mean, I had that experience when sponsors walked out of me and I was stranded. We found the money to tour Dubai. Right. Then we came back again. We got stranded again to run the league. Still, we found it's how we approach the sponsor and target market. What is marketing idea of selling the product? So this exposure actually I have from my beginning of as from Peterson rugby player and administrator. I must give credit to Asanka. I learned a lot through him. How he does go and pitch to a sponsor, how he targets. So I was silent. I used to what I didn't know anything about it. I learned from him, and those tools I used when I came in as president. I mean, it gave me time to adjust because of the COVID. I mean, even with Lasitha, I mean, I learned a lot of good governance on him. He taught me how to go with the Asian rugby law, how to go with the constitution. Because sometimes you are as administrators, you don't read the constitution.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this definitely a thing that's going on. Now I know most of it.
Nobody in Sri Lanka reads the constitution of Sri Lanka.
That's true. Not even some of the lawyers.
Yeah. So it's a thing that you learn from them. I mean, you can take the good and leave the bad. So I am not ashamed to say that I learned from them. But you see, this is where we are stuck. I mean, money can be found. Definitely, sevens is our first entry towards the international level. We have to be number one in Asia. Forget about going and winning a medal and all that. So that we need to go through the series of, and we need to improve the domestic rugby.
Right.
Correct.
Rugby we have for the last 7 years. How many sevens we play? 2 tournaments or 3 maximum.
Yeah.
And then we train and we go abroad and try to beat Japan, Korea, Hong Kong and all. Which
of course, we're going to get thrashed. We just
can't.
don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, even if we have the skill level, the physicality and the game plan is all totally different. So we are still struggling with that. Some tight decisions need to be taken now going forward.
Yeah.
There might be, I mean, people might not dislike us or our committee decision, but some strong decisions need to be taken.
Rizly, I'm glad that you mentioned about the sponsorship. Now, suddenly you lost the Dialogue sponsorship that was 60 million for the year, right? And then you ended up with Nippon Paints for about 12 million. How did that happen and how do you manage now?
See, everybody is talking about a big sponsorship. You look at Dialogue, ultimately when they ended up, they gave us 85 million.
Right.
Okay.
But when I took over Rugby, their rich sponsorship, I inherited a debt of 56 million.
You inherited that?
Wow.
So this is something people don't know.
Right.
Okay.
So before Lasitha, it was about 36 million. During the time when Asanga was the president, I had to mention his name. But those debts were done in good faith of doing tours of the junior level, doing programs. I mean, nobody but of course, what happened is we were stuck with Dialogue sponsorship only as one.
Right.
We didn't have the opportunity to go out and do others. Broadcasting rights were taken. The entire holding place was taken. Right. So the co-sponsorship, there was nobody to go and take it. We were in a happy bubble. But I am always in doing business. I look at angles, I look at things, I look at how we can go and make money into rugby. And I always knew this money which we are getting was not enough. Because at the end of the day we get stuck. The entire sponsorship is given. And from Dialogue point of view, it's nothing wrong. But that is for the best they want, for the money's worth. There's nothing wrong in it. So when we came to the sponsorship, they also, because of COVID, they reduced the value. But my only thing was, we took it to the council and we said, we need to keep our broadcasting rights with us. Where India is growing, I was talking to somebody in India, how we could get a TV channel coming in. They was interested in looking at how the school rugby and our structure of rugby, how it was happening. So I was going to get a streaming going here. We would have not got big money initially, but I was trying to get somebody in at that trade. So when the contract came and I saw it, I said, we don't want to release the broadcasting rights. And I said, we need to reduce the rights of the holdings. So they had a look at it and they said, no, we are not interested.
Right.
So it stopped at that. There was no, I mean, it was a decision taken mainly by the council, which when I explained to the council, we need to take, then there was argument within the council and said, okay, if we don't take dialogue, do you have money to run? I said, I don't have enough money, but we saved some money from the Dubai trip. I said, I have enough money, but I said, trust me, give me some time, I can get a sponsor.
Find the sponsor.
I said, we'll find some sponsor. I said, trust me. I said, but the pressure kept on coming for me, every meeting, every email, kept on coming. But I'm a guy, the harder I get hit, the stronger I become. I don't leave, I don't want to run away, because this I do through passion, family first, and this rugby is passion. It has been in my life for 35, 36 years. I want to leave with a good mark, done something good for rugby with my team. So ultimately I tried from we developed about 20 presentations, So one by one we went to EFL, we got them, we got to Moose, we got to Hamidias.
Right.
So one by one we moved in. And since I am a natural PR person, I must tell you at this time, a lot of the social media and the print media gave me a lot of support. I mean, with their support, what does the sponsor look at? Visibility. If there's no visibility in the ground, the visibility should be in the print media.
Correct.
So we improved our FB position, our Instagram position, then our YouTube, So we did a lot of work from inside to improve that status.
So did you not want to actually raise the price as far as dialogue was concerned? I mean, yes, you said 85 million, but you also say that it was not enough for you, right?
Clearly, because there was a 56 million debt racked up.
Exactly. So I mean, would you not want to have renegotiated the deal?
No, initially when we were called for a meeting, when I became a president, we raised the bar up to 150 million.
Okay.
Right.
But then, from what Dialogue has seen us doing the past 2-3 years, they were not happy the way the tournament was conducted. They were not happy the way what they got. So I said, I am a different person, give me an opportunity. So then the COVID came, we couldn't continue.
Right.
Yeah, then I mean, you can't blame them also.
It's understandable that the price has to go down because there was no rugby. There's no point sponsoring.
But at the same time, with COVID coming in, there was no rugby, everything was double the price.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now you had to go into isolation, you had to go into training, you had to go into bubbles, you had to go to hotel, separate swimming pools, separate buses, traveling. So everything was becoming a bit costly.
Now it's even more than
so
that.
what was 2.5 million ended up to being 30 odd million rupees when you want to have all the sides playing.
Right.
So that was also expensive game for the sponsors. So Dialogue, even at that time, they were interested in coming in, but due to some technical reason, logistics not available, there was a time a tournament was pulled out. Then 2 teams had to play in one tournament where the other teams couldn't take part.
Right.
So it was, it was a battle. Sometimes we took our back seat and just kept quiet.
Right.
So, basically, what happened to the Papare? Why is Papare no longer, covering the...
No, Papare is a part of Dialogue, right? When I get a letter from the head of Dialogue saying that to keep everything in and we have no more contract to go.
Right.
So when Papare wants to come in, we talk in terms of a business now. Now I ask Papare, okay, what are you willing to pay me? So
Okay.
What are you willing to pay? So at that time, I was also paying somebody else to do my TV rights because that's a decision we took.
Right.
But Papare has grown also with Sri Lanka Rugby involved in that.
For sure. Yeah.
So I said, I think, what's the boy's name? I forget him. He called me twice. I asked, why don't you go and ask for an offer and come and we'll do a deal.
Yeah.
But he never came back. Yeah, I was open to Papare. I was not saying that you cannot come in. But because of all these things, because I also had to justify to my council. All of a sudden, if I tell them, Dialogue moved out and I am going to take Papare, they will ask, Ilyas, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. So then I spoke on a business term, which they didn't come up. There was no animosity with me for them. I was just talking on a contractual agreement. Let's do something.
Purely rupees and cents.
Yeah, that's it. There was nothing more to it. They didn't like it. We left it as it is. Yeah.
Okay, so now you're back as the president, the incumbent president, of course, constitutionally and democratically voted in.
Yeah.
What type of plans do you have for rugby in the future? I mean, also in terms of the fact that, like you just said, clearly there's a lot of money that's actually required, and now you do have opportunities of going out and getting sponsors, because thankfully we have come to some sort of normalcy in this country at the moment, but we just need to push forward.
Yeah, so I mean, today we had a EXCO meeting. On the 21st or 22nd, there's a Mercantile Sevens Rugby coming up. So with that weekend moving forward, we want to continue another 3 legs of Sevens Rugby, looking at if we are invited overseas, but still we play Sevens Rugby to keep our Sevens players going. In the meantime, I think there's a Borneo Sevens coming. We can find the money through our sponsors and we can go forward. So, I mean, we are looking at the 15s coming late in November. So till that we need to couple up these sevens and get the provincial unions and other clubs like Old Boys of Peters, Joseph. The children have played their rugby. Some children have moved out of rugby. Then the under 21, under 24. We had those tournaments. When I was with my team doing the Western Province, we developed the under 21, 24, which was the feeder base to all the clubs.
Right.
Some brilliant players came up from there. So I'm going to revive that and change the structure a little. Make the 15s as a short structure. We might not go into the super round. We might go into the knockouts. So still, we have only appointed the tournament committee today. So next week I'll have the council meeting and they will go ahead and take a decision. Speak to all the clubs. They are members who are playing. But we looked at very positively to opening out and helping some of the provincial unions develop a B division, A division side, just for them to take part in the sevens initially.
Right.
Later on, we say, you look at the provincial unions also, Shaq. Everybody is waiting for money to come from the union and for us to take money from World Rugby and give it to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you look at Gaul, they have so much of industries, they have so much of business. So I had a meeting with them. I said, tell me 2 companies that are doing well. Come and tell me, I'll do the presentation, I'll come and meet them.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't reach out to them. They don't know what they are getting.
Right.
I think a lot of the people in the regional unions are also very relaxed about
This
is how it's been done.
They don't know the value of being a president of a provincial union.
Yeah.
They only have the value when it comes to election. Everybody is behind them. Then they know that they have a value, that voting happens and they are forgotten and gone.
Yeah.
This 2 years period that gave me a lot of opportunity to work with them, but I have been at grassroots level with most of the provincial union. I mean, they know me very well. I mean, my eyes closed, I can just walk into any of the provincial unions and, address them and do, because I have not only gone for the votes. I mean, I can't talk about the other people. And I am happy working with them, because I feel the players, not only from Colombo School, the players from outstation must be given the opportunity, they must be given the opportunity, exposure. And we need to drive rugby from there, the grassroots level.
Considering sevens, there was a very interesting question that we posed earlier from Shane, I believe. If you can have that question back on again. Here it is. Why can't Sri Lanka Rugby just identify about 45 good young players, give them contracts of about 200,000 rupees a month and just ask them to focus full time on rugby? This might kickstart a revolution in Sri Lanka Rugby at an international level. This is Shane.
Yeah. I mean,
Makes sense.
Makes sense. I mean, that's why we council need to make a decision whether we give the clubs 1 year time for them to adjust, or we just drop the players who are not coming and go into the young boys and get them into high performance.
Absolutely makes sense.
I mean, and start playing. I mean, let the 15er side go on one side and let them play. I mean, I remember when I was manager about 25 years back for the national side, George Simpkins was there.
Right.
He used to tell me, he said, Dira, just go every week, just play sevens.
Yeah.
Even if they come in different color jerseys, if they come in slippers, just play. And you tell your sponsors, for a month you will spot 2 players from that side who are going to be brilliant.
Correct.
You give them a pair of shorts, you give them a pair of boots, they will play totally different game. He said, if you don't do that, you will never find. So, I mean, I'm not going to that worst state, but I'm going to continue something maybe once a month or twice a month, playing a sevens tournament, not in Colombo, even in Gaul. I mean, we got the Planters Association now working there in Radella. A lot of rugby.
So they are reactivated again.
Yeah, no, they are there, but not identified.
Yeah.
Because what happens is we give it to the central province to run their rugby.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is no connection that we have made. I only knew Planters, upcountry, Radhala and all when I was playing with, and we used to play with Tuan Dole and all that. But now I see there are a lot of activities. They have players, seven aside, they have some good players.
Absolutely.
So one of those members, Manjula Samarapun, is the CEO of Bogadra Plantation. In access to the our constitution, we normally need to have A division players being in our council and exco. But there is a provision that we can have 2 people inside the exco not have played rugby, but no voting rights.
Right.
But I brought him today into the exco because I think we should know what's happening here.
Absolutely.
And we also should know what's happening. We can harness those players. And Candy produces so much of rugby players. We don't know what happens into the season to them. So,
Now, right now, from what you are trying to explain, the situation is very messy, right?
it's not messy, Shaq.
Okay.
It's interference.
Yeah. It's a lot of egos. I
Which
think.
becomes messy,
Yeah,
which you
like-
can't do your work.
No, I mean,
No, but my question
it's true.
is, I mean,
It's true. It's true.
interference.
Yeah.
You can't. You want to take 3 steps forward. Somebody's interfering. You're tripping and falling and coming back 2 steps back.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you want to be in this position and constantly be looking over your shoulder? I mean, you've had it all, Dida. There's really no reason for you to actually be in this position and always constantly look over your shoulder for the betterment of rugby. Why do you want to do that?
You see, when we played Rugby Shaq, we played for Peterson Sports Club.
Right.
Every time we go, we come out losers.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
I remember.
But I now value, well, I did a course in the Olympic House, and it says, the charter says, it's the best to take part in a game, not thinking of winning or losing. So even before we thought of the Olympic charter, in our mind it was like that. So even now, for me, even I'm getting hammered, I don't look at the way whether I'm falling. I become more strong.
Right.
Even those days, we used to be social and we party a lot when we lose. When we won 1 or 2 games, we didn't know what to do. No, that's what the fact.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling. For Peterson's, I remember.
We were dumb stuff. I mean,
What happened?
Yeah,
Now what do we do?
So that was how we came up, and that was how our mindset was there. And I feel that fight in me now, and I like you say, it's messy.
Yeah.
But sometimes you go pull off a tournament, you take this, see the league tournament, nobody knew what was happening. Now even this Commonwealth Games, right? Nobody thought we go.
Yeah.
Nobody thought, even the players, when I met them there, he said, sir, what a banding no sir, apita plane එක නගිනකම් අපි දන්නේ නැහැ.
Yeah, යනවද නැද්ද කියලා.
Because there are cross talks.
Yeah, of course.
Sending messages to their phone, මේක යන්නේ නැහැ, මේක බොරු වැඩ, ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ටිකට් නැහැ.
Yeah.
විශ්වාස කරන්න එපා. So this type of animosity, this type of dirty politics should be driven off and taken off.
How do you plan to do that?
We
Can
have,
you do
no,
that?
we have to identify. We have to identify. The society has to identify, and keep these people away. I mean, mark these people. Otherwise, you can't. Now even for thuggery or rowdyism in international, they identify people, keep them out of the space. These people must be out. Identify. Sometimes I don't want to mention names. No, I want to bring those people here and have a program with them.
Right.
Have a one-to-one chat and see, okay, because there are messages, I mean, even on the day of the AGM, there are messages that 2 of the people whom I know very well, they are sending to all the provincial union heads, under DG Luma Keolatine Yandepa, Ogula Yandepa. They are sending me shots that the center's name is there and the thing is there.
Right.
So I am not in the basis of taking and passing it and doing it.
Yeah.
But I was happy even with all that these people came as a quorum.
Right.
They wanted to stop a quorum from coming to the AGM.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they did. But they came there, they stood there. The people who wanted to vote, they voted. The other people who wanted to abstain because of the quota, they abstained. And they went through. So that is the victory for me.
Right.
That's we install a democratic election.
The way you explain it, මේ රටේ ජනාධිපතිවරණය වගේ.
I'm telling you, it's terrible. That sort of,
Yeah.
animosity in there in people, they have finished. I mean, some of them cannot go to their school and serve in their council because they have the issue.
Right.
Some can't go into the referee society, but they still try to infiltrate here. So these people need to be identified for the best. Otherwise, this will go as a virus. I hope it stops with me. And end of the day, I don't want to take this culture to go ahead. Actually, I didn't want to get into this run of this election because my family didn't want. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren overseas and I have 1 here. I want to spend some time with them.
That's exactly why I asked you.
But then, then my entire council told me, he said, Ilyas, ඔයා වෙනුවෙන් අපි ඔයා කියන දේවල්ට අපි හිටගත්තා. ඔයා අපි දහලා ගියොත් ඔයා මේ ඡන්දෙට එන්න. මෙතන බලමු ඔයාත් එක්ක කවුද මූණ දෙන්නේ කියලා. මෙච්චර කෑ ගන්නවනේ ඉලියස්. මෙච්චර ඔක්කොම කියන රග වැටුණා. රයිට් මෙයාට වැඩි අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද අපිට වැඩි ස්පොන්සර්ෂිප් ගේන්න පුළුවන්. ඔක්කොම එන්න ඕනේ මෙතන ඡන්දයක් ගන්න එන්න ඕනේ.
Right.
ඒක කරුණාකරලා ඉන්න ඔයා අපි ඔයා දාලා ගියොත් So then I had to explain to my wife. I said, "Ma, give me a chance because I let down a lot of people who stood by me.
Right.
And I don't run away, Shaq. I don't run away. So I mean, there are a lot of people who canvass from all the provincial unions. I was in Georgia at one time. 2 provincial unions called and said, Ilyas, can you do a presentation? From there, I did 40 minutes presentation to those provincial unions, and they backed me up. And that's it. And I only gave the presentation to them what I can do to the provincial union. Because there's no point in me giving them the country perspective. They won't understand.
True.
And they were quite okay.
Before we move on in this line of questioning, I want to iron out this point. If we can have that article from Ceylon today. Now this was actually sent to me by this is Vimal Pereira. I'm sure you would have seen this, right? This is actually sent to me by one of my batchmates. Whose sons are now playing for St. Thomas's College. So he really wanted to get clarity on this, right? So whistle watch it's called. I wonder who is in charge of the whistle, the referee or the assistant referee. The crowds keep shouting at the assistants to show off or not show incidents which are not within his scope, such as offside, knock-on, etc. And on the other hand, the question of why crowds keep chanting may be because there is so much interference by the assistant referee during a game. Also, referees seem to stop play and depend overly on the assistants. The referee may consult with assistant referees about matters relating to their duties, the law relating to foul play and timekeeping, and may request assistance related to other aspects of the referee's duties. The referee may alter decision after a touch judge or an assistant referee has raised the flag to signal touch in goal, or an assistant referee has signaled foul play. Is this correct?
You see, Shaq and Anu, the entire referee's concept has collapsed.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning, it started during the COVID time. There was a time that, in our constitution it says we have to approve a tournament. If we don't approve a tournament, sanction a tournament, the referee can't referee.
Right.
Because we look at the tournament manual, tournament book. If it is COVID, we say these are the guidelines that have to be made. You go and get the authorities approve and come and give it to us. So all these things were given. But during COVID time, when we did not give sanction to a game with 2 clubs playing the 15-a-side as Commanders Cup, because we didn't have the letter coming from the health authorities. If something goes wrong with a boy, we be responsible.
Right.
But when we told the referee society we have not given sanction, they sent me a letter written by the I can't name him, coordinating secretary of the ministry.
Right.
Now, coordinating secretary of the minister gives approval for him to go ahead and blow a match. Now, on that strength, they go and blow a match. Now, what do I do?
Right.
So then from there onwards, everything, their training, their progress, everything, they don't take notice of us. Now I'm caught with us having a league tournament, then the schools league is coming in. Now, do I go and put my hand, stop them and take control of something? So there are lots of people who have been presidents of referee societies. I bring them in for a meeting and I ask them. They said, don't do anything, Ilyas, let it go the way it is. They will get punished. So the punishment you see is what happens with the crowd reacting.
Right.
The standard of referee.
It definitely has an effect. We have not seen this type of things happening in our life. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like disgraceful for us. So I'm sitting and watching. We are writing to them, okay, explain to us why this happened. Up to now, they have not explained. So now that we are coming to power, I hope this current minister doesn't interfere, and tell us not to do this. They must give the federation the right to run the sport properly.
Yeah.
Not to entertain a club coming with a petition or a provincial union. That is not what the ministry should do.
Yeah. But you see, how are the referees being independent of the Sri Lanka rugby? That's not all.
No, that's what I say. Today I can close up and say, take an order and say the referee, but the entire game will stop,
Yeah.
The entire game will stop. So we even for the school season to start, I have to call the director of education and say there is no proper manual being put. I have to speak to the schools association and ask them, now come, we'll do your manual, and we help them to do a proper manual. Without a proper manual, you can't play a tournament. But I don't know the referee society without a manual or with a manual. We are entirely, even the president of the referee society, he cannot come in for a council meeting. He has not played A-Division rugby. So in an email he writes to me, I could have qualified with only 90 seconds of playing for any A-Division to any club. So that sort of mentality they have, right? And there was a conflict that the union owes them 5 million rupees. That was before my period. Okay, I was there. But he constantly comes on talking about this money when there is no money with us.
Right.
I mean, there are other people who have sent us letters. We have told us, give us time, we will pay. So this person knowing that, so ultimately it got a bit worse. I couldn't entertain him to come into my meetings. I kept him away because we need to run our system. We can't have somebody bullying me and my council.
Yeah.
So I kept him away. And very soon we are looking at our legislation. We are looking. I know you know Panduku Kirthinatna, a famous lawyer of sports. I have taken him as advisor. We are not going to punish anybody. We want to bring everything back to normalcy and have proper accountability and good governance going forward and make a better place for people to play rugby.
Absolutely.
Do you feel the position you are in right now is giving you an opportunity to sort of clean up from bottom up?
It can. But we have to take some tough decisions.
Will you and your committee be able to take those decisions?
Today we have EXO meeting. I mean, that's what, there was a paper article recently, but we have been talking before even the AGM, some of the decisions we have to make. There is bulliness with some of the clubs,
Clubs are bullying the union, is it? Really?
Absolutely. They are bullying in such a way, they meet on their own, they talk about their voting rights, then they take a letter and go to the minister, and the minister says there's a complaint, now you have to stop this. So this should stop.
Right.
How this should stop is, those people in those clubs should be eliminated, or these clubs should be kept alone to go and play. They won't play any rugby if not for the union. And these clubs, what will they do? How will they raise money if they don't play rugby?
But if the clubs themselves have an issue, how are they supposed to sort it out?
They have to come to the provincial union.
Okay.
If the Western Province clubs have an issue, they should go to the provincial union. They have internal politics with the president of the Western Province. So that should not hamper the progress of rugby.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is exactly what has happened now.
They have their politics inside their club. Our president of Western Province is having a problem with their members and all those things. So now they take it on the Western Province. And that president is a council member of mine.
Right.
I have to not protect him, sort of. I can't let him down as a president.
Yeah.
I have to be with him. So that impact is taken. And these clubs go together, they meet, they go out. And they don't understand the constitution at all.
Okay.
Even if you need to change the laws and the things of a constitution of Western Province, all the Western Province clubs, A division, B division, C division must sit. They must have a 2/3 majority. Just because 8 A division clubs are playing, they can't call terms. If you are giving the 8 A division clubs to vote, you must give the C division, B division to go and vote. So if you give all of them to go and vote at the SLR, what will the provincial union do? We under the 13th amendment, we are given rights to the provincial union to conduct their affairs, distribution of power.
Yeah.
Okay, the elections are not happening, but the governors are working. We do. So this they don't understand.
Right.
To change all that, then you have to have a major provincial unions. All the provincial unions have to meet, and then you have to have a 2/3 majority in that. You look at the parliamentary problem now. The president got out, the prime minister got out, everybody was talking about this guy should be the president, but ultimately what happened, it came to parliament, they acted on the constitution.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So whether people like it or not, you need to go on to that. So these people don't understand. There are people who have been presidents of from the Western Province, who have been secretaries. When they were seated, they didn't look at these things.
Right.
They were interested, even seated there, look at their own clubs. But now when they go out, they want to point fingers, but they don't want to come to the table to talk to us.
So you feel there is a group that really doesn't want you or the committee to run this game.
Absolutely.
But you also state the fact that nobody's coming up to take it over.
No, take it over. They can't come up by means of an interim committee. They must come on a democratic level in the election.
Right.
No, this election was done for that.
Right.
We gave everybody. We didn't. I never went and slandered anybody.
Right.
When they gave the opportunity to the people who were contesting and me to talk, they only said Ilyas Avila dialogue eka visikara asupa million asupa. Ya inda api suspend wuna.
Right.
So then they asked, api eka danna oyage monada ප්‍රතිපත්තිය no ප්‍රතිපත්තිය. Then he says, mama minister කෙනෙක් ගේනවා මොනාරි මේ championship ඉතර අපිට minister මොකුත් එපා. අපිට ඔය ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් නැත්නම් අපිට ඔයාලට vote කරන්න බෑ.
Right.
Another union has said, යා දැන් අනාගන කනවනේ ඇයි කියලා එහෙම නේද දැන් ඔයා කරදර කරන්නේ. දැන් අනාගන කන්න දෙන්නේ යට. So they said එහෙම හරි කියලා බැලුවා මිස්ටර් ඉලියස් මම යනවාද කියලා. මම යන්නෙත් නැහැ.
How is I mean we actually like we started with 1 hour is never
I told
enough.
you 1 hour is never going to be.
No, I'm happy to talk because you know why? Sometimes the viewers should know exactly what we are going, because they must be thinking, I am trying to hold on to this, and why is Ilyas? This is my passion. When I get up in the morning, when I sleep, I get up in the morning. Rugby is my passion.
Right.
I get up, I think of the problems first. I don't think of the easy things in life.
Right.
So I try to work from there. I talk to my deputy, my vice president. Even before we go into a meeting, we talking. I mean, people think that I arrange it. No, I listen to them.
Right.
I listen to them because they are all senior people. They played rugby. You know, today we have Nalin De Silva, who's a very senior person there, and we have Jamaldin. So we must respect. It's not mean. I mean, when it comes to council meeting, Shaq, my voice is a bit tough, right? But that's the way I talk.
Right.
I mean, end of the day, that's the way I talk. Because not when I come out of the meeting, we are okay. Like we are friends and we talk. You know, that's it. So they think that, you know, I mean, I'm overpowering them. It's not only me. If there are 30 people and 20 people are in with a vote, the other 10 people have to go with it.
Yeah,
they don't like it, you know, it's okay.
That's how democracy works.
Yeah, and there's no point in going out and writing emails, and then I find fault for not answering emails. I said, why should I answer when you must come to the council and talk?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that I can do better. So it's like
we can actually carry on.
Yeah, I think
to unearth what's going on.
Ideally, we should do this at Sia, perhaps, with a beverage.
We wouldn't end up. We wouldn't end up with this
absolutely
conversation.
not. Absolutely
But
not.
Dida, thank you so much. I think just before we actually go, it's time for us to reveal the winner.
Yeah, the Daraz Deal of the Day winner. Yeah, this was what was up for grabs, the Daraz Deal of the Day, the M4, M5 smartwatch band fitness tracker. All you had to do was locate this on the Daraz app and send us a screenshot via our WhatsApp number 075 011 7777. If you notice, our hotline and this number are different. Okay,
Yes,
so this
of
is
course.
exclusively for the Daraz Deal of the Day. So let's see who the winner is. Here we go. Okay, M. Gajaneswari from Rattota is the Daraz Deal of the Day winner. That's M. Gajaneswari from Rattota. Congratulations. I'm sure you're going to have, well, if you don't get to use it, I'm sure your children will, because they will love it. I hope you do use it, Gajaneswari, and it's a really cool device.
Thank you so much, Daraz, on the show with us. And before we basically get into the poll, we take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked.
Tug it.
Discover your Daraz.
And here we are back again. It's ideal time to see what's happened to the poll. Today's poll question was quite simple because this is something that we have all seen, Rizly, because back then we did have lots of foreign players and it actually elevated the game to such a level. Are foreign players a must to improve local rugby? Yes or no? But of course, having talked to you now, there are bigger problems to address before we get to foreign players. But let's see what our viewers have to say about it. 70% say foreign players are a must to improve local rugby.
I remember watching all the Fijians.
No,
and
the Carlton franchise was a magic to our rugby.
That's right.
It gave the topmost players coming, you know, that franchise did fantastic good, you know. I mean, that should have continued and it should have still. And before that, we had Candy doing the singer
That's right.
sevens, you know. That gave us a wide range of top players. I mean, today you get 4 players who are playing for New Zealand, who played in the Northwestern Blacks team here.
Yes.
Which I owned that team at that time.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, that gave a different dimension of Surya Bandar, who was nobody, he just came up in that tournament.
That's right.
Yeah.
Today, 14 years, he's still the captain in the 7th squad. So, Nigel Ratwato, all these boys came from there.
So is this, I mean, is this one of your plans within the council, or this is like in the back burner?
No, this is at the moment in the back burner because we need to find the money.
Yeah.
Right. Today, even the government treasury doesn't have money.
Right.
So these proposals I can't take. I mean, they will think that I'm crazy or something like that. So more than that, it's better for us to find tournaments and go overseas and play in top tournaments.
Okay.
In Europe or in wherever we can.
You
find,
did say Borneo was coming up, right?
Yeah, so there are a few tournaments. I mean, not in Asia, but I'm still thinking in I don't know, Africa or in Europe or some of these tournaments that are not right on top.
Okay.
I made some. Include into Georgia. They are willing to come and play some rugby here, exchange some players. So we got a letter from their foreign ministry coming to the Georgian embassy in Delhi. In return, that embassy writes to our foreign ministry. Then they write to the sports director. The sports director directed to us after the visit.
Right.
So now I need to activate that and go. And I made some good friendship there and signed a MOU of coming here. And they want to put up 2 stadiums. I mean, their infrastructure really huge there.
Right.
Yeah, and I was invited to watch a match there. They beat Italy. Georgia is 14th and Italy number 6 in the Europe. They beat them. It was a good. Yeah, it was a good.
I mean, I've seen Georgia play, and they're really pretty good.
But they also they lack in their head discipline. After some time, they all go berserk.
First half,
don't we all? But Dina, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
on the
much,
show.
Jack. I'm so happy I was able to come
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you,
So much. So
Thank
interesting
you.
chatting with
It
you.
was,
Thank
and
you.
it's of course also interesting to find out exactly what the real story is, because
of
these
course.
stuff we read in the newspaper, we only, again, half the story is actually only out there. So, but it's great to get all the stories and put everything in perspective. So
Absolutely. And Shaq, 90% of my friends are rugby players.
of course.
Right? So all they talk about is what's going on. So
Yeah.
finally, I'm glad that we've cleared the air.
Right. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. Today's Thursday. Thursday is our Friday.
That's right.
And because we had another great week of fantastic guests. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's a brand new month, Anu. It's the
Absolutely,
first.
yeah. It's the 1st of
Wow.
September, but we'll see you again on Monday night.
That's right. Have yourself a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend. And hopefully Sri Lanka can win.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Thanks.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shaq. Thank you, Arun. Thanks a lot.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers.